With its Blue Ridge Mountains, Appalachian National Trails, and its scenic byways, West Virginia is known as one of the most beautiful states in the country. It's also one of the most paranormal. It also has its share of cryptids and UFOs. We have done several videos about some of the places previously. The Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum, Harpers Ferry, the Blennerhassett Hotel hauntings, Virginia Penitentiary, the Lake Shawnee Amusement Park, the Flatwoods Monster. We will put the links below. With this video we will explore some of the other places not covered in the previous videos, that are equally as frightening. Sweet Springs Sanitarium. John Lewis, an Irishman born in Donegal in 1678, emigrated to America in the late 1720s, after killing a ruthless landowner who had killed his brother. In 1754, John and his sons William, Andrew, and Charles conducted the first exploration of the Sweet Springs Valley. William, son of John Lewis, who founded Augusta County, Virginia, and brother of General Andrew Lewis, received a land grant from King George III in 1774. About a mile away, William first constructed a two-story cabin at Red Springs, but he eventually moved to Sweet Springs in 1784. The resort's first visitor was documented in 1790. The circuit court met there for 11 years, and a new building and jail were soon built. By 1833, a new brick classical design hotel had been finished, and the Sweet Springs Company had been established in 1836. Some of the historical figures who have visited and stayed at the property include George Washington, James Madison, and Robert E. Lee. New structures were erected to the site around 1857. From 1820 to the American Civil War, the Sweet Springs prospered. The springs were run by William Lewis, then his son and grandson until 1852, when Allen Caperton and Oliver Byrne bought the financially ailing farm. Union forces under the command of General David Hunter paid a visit to the resort in June 1864. His men camped near the resort, although there is no evidence that the structures were damaged. After the Civil War, Sweet Springs continued to draw visitors. The Lewis family held the property again from 1902 to 1920, and it was run by numerous successive owners until it went into receivership in 1930. From 1942 through 1945, Old Sweet served as a tuberculosis treatment facility. The property was purchased by the state of West Virginia in 1945, and the Andrew Rowan Memorial Home for the Aged was constructed. Rowan Home was decommissioned in 1991, and the state turned it over to Monroe County to be used as a substance abuse treatment center. The project failed, and the former resort was sold to private investors in 1996. In 2005, Sweet Springs was sold again, and the new owner hoped to restore the resort to its former glory but sadly passed away unexpectedly before being able to accomplish the restoration. The resort was auctioned to Ashby Berkeley on November 12, 2015, along with equipment and facilities to bottle the famous Sweet Springs mineral water. It is said to be haunted by some of the hundreds of individuals who died there throughout its past as a sanitarium and retirement home, as well as the events of the Civil War. Many ghosts are claimed to haunt the building's dark areas. Its corridors are filled with whispers, and strange occurrences have been witnessed, such as human-like forms drifting through the property. Not only have they been seen, but it is said you can sense them. Some claim you can feel their presence reach out to you, in addition to the unsettling feeling that you are not alone. Others claim they have felt a touch on the shoulder or a brush against the arm, when walking the property. Others have reported hearing disembodied voices, as well as screams coming from what appears as nowhere. The Asylum has appeared on several paranormal TV shows, including the series Destination Fear, and Paranormal Lockdown. There has also been a documentary made about it, called The Haunting of Sweet Springs Sanitarium, which is available on Amazon Prime. North Bend Rail Trail Tunnel Number 19, located in Ritchie County. In Cairo, West Virginia, North Bend State Park is home to countless miles of abandoned tunnels and railroads. There are 36 bridges and 10 underground tunnels that are a part of the 5,000-mile American Discovery Trail, that winds its way across the country. Included along that span is the Silver Run Tunnel, popularly known as Tunnel 19, or as some have called it, the Death Tunnel. The 72-mile North Bend Trail is particularly well liked by equestrian riders, cyclists, and hikers alike. However, they must all take extra precautions when traveling through Tunnel Number 19, the Silver Run Tunnel, as it is rumored to be haunted. This route stands out among the many others that are found around the area, in terms of strange events and creepy history. There have long been rumors that the area around the cursed tunnel has seen a number of unexplained disappearances, and at least one possible murder. A woman's skeletal remains were found in a home, not far from Tunnel 19 in the early 1900s. Although the reason of her death could not be established with certainty, it was strongly thought that she had not met a natural end. Not only was her death thought to have occurred close to the railways that ran through the tunnel, but there were others. Most often, victims who had consumed a little too much alcohol and passed out on the train were the ones who died. These poor souls frequently died alone and abandoned on the rails because they were so impaired that they were unaware of the approaching train. A young woman who was about to get married in the 1940s, followed the train tracks through Tunnel 19 into the distant city of Parkersburg, which was about 20 miles away. She was supposed to meet her future husband there. She never arrived for reasons that were only known to her and the people, or things she came across along the route. She may have unintentionally walked into the path of an approaching train, but many people thought it was more likely that she had been the victim of malicious intent. Since the early 1900s, there have allegedly been ghost sightings in the area. Engineers reported that over the years, they frequently observed individuals on the tracks close to Tunnel 19, and would blow the whistle to signal them to move aside. These individuals would strangely get swallowed up by a fog that arose out of thin air and vanish just as fast, as opposed to leaping to the side as one would anticipate. This incident repeatedly occurred, making some locomotive operators doubt their sanity. There has been stories of a young woman standing on the tracks in a flowing white dress, that date back to 1910. When an engineer first saw her, he thought he was going to hit her and abruptly stopped the train, but when he went outside to look for her, she had vanished into thin air. Many of his co-workers over the years have gone through the same thing. She is not at all identifiable, and it is unclear why she haunts the tunnel. There have been countless reports of a ghost train whistle that pierces the silent night air, alerting those up ahead that the locomotive will soon be upon them. No one can explain this strange phenomenon because the tracks haven't been used in decades, and no trains pass through the area anymore. Even in the daylight, you will need a flashlight to search for ghosts because the tunnel is 1,376 feet long, and light cannot get through it. The Wells Inn. The grandson of Sistersville's founder, Ephraim Wells, inaugurated the hotel on January 15, 1895. Oil was found in the region in 1894, and Sistersville had an oil boom. The luxurious hotel was constructed to serve wealthy tourists and oil barons. Over the years, the hotel had a number of different owners, and opened and closed multiple times. In 1994, it was on the verge of being shut down after a harsh winter caused extensive structural damage. The Boyd family bought the inn, repaired it, and added contemporary facilities like a pool and exercise facility. Former owner Walt Boyd is claimed to have an uncanny resemblance to Mr. Wells. According to reports, the ghost is none other than Ephraim Wells, whose proud image is displayed in the hotel. When nobody is around, the ghost loves to move things around, and weird noises can be heard at night. When no one is there, an elevator routinely descends from the third floor and doors bang on their own. There has reportedly been at least one weird incident in room 324. The door was jammed shut as the maid attempted to clean the room. She claimed that after 3 unsuccessful attempts to unlock the door, it actually pulled itself shut, like someone was holding it. The door opened normally on the 4th attempt. It is also claimed that footsteps may be heard walking down hallways and tunnels, as well as writing noises emanating from Mr. Wells' former office on the 2nd floor. Charleston, West Virginia residents were entertained at plays and other cultural events at the century-old theater, which was completed in 1914. Through the Great Depression and World War II, up until the 1970s, It continued to provide the best in the cultural arts, including movies as well. It is an accomplishment to the town to have this great theater listed on the National Register of Historic Places. Due to the necessity for repairs and restoration, it was shut down for some time. This theater was sold to the state to serve the needs of the local community as well as the drama, film, and music programs at West Virginia State University. The Capitol Plaza Theater was transformed into the Capitol Center after being brought back to its original elegance. The opulent 1798 mansion that was demolished to make space for this theater's construction gave birth to the spirits that now reside at the Capitol Center. The mansion, which would serve as the family's residence for 110 years, was erected by a wealthy Welsh industrialist. Between 1830 and 1860, his son John Welch raised his own family in this mansion. In 1840, his 8-year-old daughter, the family's youngest child, passed away. The Welch family managed to keep the home until, for an unknown reason, they sold it to developers around 1908, who tore it down to make a place for the theater. The theater's most noticeable and active presence is John Welch. John Welch doesn't harbor grudges, and is the guardian of the theater, and also takes care of the actors. There may occasionally be a chilly area as one enters the theater. This could be John Welch sizing up the audience. John Welch enjoys pulling practical jokes on the living, sometimes acting cunningly, to tamper with people's perceptions of reality. Although he likes to play around, he is not malicious. Molly Welch, the youngest of the Welch children, is 8 years old, and who died in 1840 of pneumonia. Although introverted, she is said to appreciate the theater. The ghost of Molly can be seen sitting in the front row of the balcony when a performer is on stage. In Point Pleasant's historic neighborhood, the formerly named Spencer Hotel was constructed in 1901 on the banks of the Ohio River. The property on which it was built is extremely close to the location of the 1774 Battle of Point Pleasant, and is owned and operated by the Smith brothers, Homer and Griff. This is officially recognized as the first battle of the American Revolutionary War by Congress. As part of Andrew Lewis' compensation for his military service during the war, the land had been awarded to him. The Spencer Hotel was known for its extravagant entertainment and spectacular dance hall in the 1920s. Sadly, this glamorous age came to an abrupt end with the stock market crash of 1929. Homer Lowe, Sr. purchased the Smith brothers' property in that same year. To honor his family name, Lowe gave the hotel a new name. Up until 1990, when Ruth and Rush Finley bought the hotel, it was run by the Lowe family. To preserve this old architecture, the hotel was regularly updated and restored. The Lowe Hotel is home to 3 ghosts that won't go away. A stunning woman who is barefoot is spotted dancing on the mezzanine of the 2nd floor. Staff and visitors have seen the apparition. She is thought to be the apparition of Juliet Smith, the first owner's daughter. The second ghost is an infant girl, who has been seen in the halls riding a tricycle. She is roughly 3 years old and is initially plainly visible in 3 dimensions, as closely resembling a human as is conceivable, and then she abruptly vanishes. The third spirit is thought to be the one that is most active. He is a bearded man in his 30s with a somber expression. He hasn't been named, but he looks a lot like Sid Hatfield, of the well-known McCoy-Hatfield family rivalry infamy. Ruth Finley, the proprietor at the time, related a ghost story that had been reported to her. Room 314 had previously hosted a railroad worker's wife for a week. One night, she woke up, and a bearded man was in the room. She later mentioned that another female guest was doing her hair. She was looking in a giant framed mirror. In the mirror she saw a figure of a man, and suddenly she recognized him. It was the same man that was in her room. A boat captain has additionally been spotted in a 3-room suite on the 3rd floor. What seems to draw him to this room is the view of the Ohio River. Captain Jim, as he is referred to, comes there often. Many claim that he is patiently waiting for the ferry. He caused quite a commotion in September 2005 during the Mothman Festival. Evidently, Jim's commanding presence forced the visitors out of the space. It is believed that the advent of the passenger boat, the River Explorer, together with the activities on the river helped to reinforce him. Also, there is a former maid, who looks to be continuing to perform her tasks as a loyal worker for the hotel. You might notice sparkling orbs. You might also experience sudden unexpected chills. The perception of an invisible presence in the hallways and rooms is one of the most frequently reported sensations. A rocking chair that rocks on its own is also present. It is situated in the former ballroom on the 4th level, which is now utilized as storage. Visitors to the Lowe have captured a lot of strange light patterns and orbs on camera. Long rumored to be haunted, it's located near Beckley, West Virginia, the old farm that is beyond the south end of the flats, and it is said to be the most haunted location in the entire area. In an area of thorns and brambles there, the old farm trail and the South Gray Flats Trail converge. All that's left of an old farm, whose ruins have existed there for as long as anybody can recall, is that patch of dilapidated old oaks and maple trees that shade it. There are also old foundation stones scattered about. I didn't give the reports of a haunting there any credibility, until my friends and I actually saw something there a few years back, according to one hiker on the route. In spite of the chilly weather and approaching dusk in late October, which made visibility challenging, what we saw was clearly evident. We spotted a dark figure wearing what may have been a long coat and a broad-rimmed hat at the spot along the Gray Flats Trail, where the trees start to close in. Although it was in the shape of a man, there was no light to show its depth. It was entirely dark. It also moved without walking, as opposed to moving like a person. It then turned to the side away from us, climbing through the trees and heading away from the road in the direction of what might have been a farmhouse. The figure did not rise, despite the rocky ground doing so. It seemed to be sinking into the ground. My friend started to feel sick as soon as it vanished beneath the surface. She sat down, then knelt, and started to sob while holding her hands over her stomach. When we asked her if she was okay, she nodded and said that all she wanted to do was go home. We took her by the arms and headed back toward Shiprock. We glanced back and noticed the form once more as we prepared to turn onto the old farm trail. It appeared to be rising from the earth and moving toward the location of the former strip mines. Many people are aware of the spirit of Elizabeth Moore, who haunts Moore Hall, which is on the WVU downtown campus. According to legend, Confederate soldiers stormed Morgantown during the American Civil War. The soldiers intended to set fire to the structure, which was formerly known as the Woodburn Female Seminary. To defend the school and her kids, Moore led the soldiers to believe that she was a supporter of the Confederacy. Moore passed away before the hall was finished, but there are rumors that her ghost inhabits the structure to guard women. Employees of the building have reported seeing Moore wandering the hallways, while others have found her picture having been moved without being touched. The spirit of Moore has also been witnessed floating over the swimming pool in the basement. Another spirit is Sally, a small child who fell ill when the typhoid fever pandemic hit Morgantown, might be found in the Mountain Lair building. Sally went to the building where the lair presently is with her parents before she passed away. According to legend, the structure served as Morgantown's social hub much like it does today. Sally was laid to rest in the cemetery that is now home to Stewart Hall. Sally wasn't prepared to go, even if the bodies had been transferred from the graveyard to a different area. Witnesses who have seen Sally claim that she dances between the pillars of Stewart Hall and around the Mountain Lair building while wearing a yellow dress. Sally, however, disappears as soon as she turns the corner. At the Morgantown Public Library, there have been cases where witnesses have heard the sounds of books being knocked off of shelves, but no books have actually fallen to the ground. The ghost of the Morgantown Public Library has been given the moniker Isabel Jane, but its identity is unknown. People who have seen the ghost say it appears as a person dressed in 19th century attire. Also on the non-paranormal side, they reportedly have the Ogwa there. The Ogwa is a water monster that lives in the Monongahela River. It is bigger than a bear and looks like a turtle. The Ogwa weighs 500 pounds and has a 15-foot tail. It uses its agile legs in addition to swimming to catch deer on land. According to legend, the Ogwa were the first people to live in these waterways when Native Americans colonized the country. According to legend, the ogwa hides underwater and awaits its prey. The creature will grab the deer and drag it beneath when it approaches the river's edge to drink. So what do you think of haunted West Virginia? Let us know in the comments below, and as always please like and subscribe.